Hey, yo.
Back hero.
Yo, check it. This my special attack, 100 swords, 100 episodes, and here's to 100 more. Who got next? Place your change on the cabinet. Air Combo University graduates juggle my enemies before tagging in the Masters hero. Pros in action, toe tagging champions getting active. The message will always get near you. Return to the dream team, Spider-Man and Strider hear you. When the mask is on, I can't promise Cyclops to keep his glasses on. The handshake was potent. The inner glow shown as a mega optic blast, trailing behind the Shinku Hadouken. How you gon' dodge both of them? Blast you down to the last atom. Best regards from the proton cannon you couldn't fathom. If you were raised on gaming and put a controller up, I'm old enough to study the meta before I bless you. We understood space in the dash clean. Now we need the Justin Wong poster right next to the pro athletes. Final justice like a primary lotus from out the sky. Stars and stripes reminding you racism is still alive. Bring a plasma sword to a gunfight. Hayato, bring a hurricane kick. Tatsumaki Sentakyu. One time for all my otakus who played the console till their eyes closing. Probably forgot to study for their finals. Welcome to the SwordCast. SwordCast. My wordplay, my sword play when blades clash. Welcome to the SwordCast. SwordCast. My wordplay, my sword play when blades clash. Welcome to the SwordCast. SwordCast. My wordplay, my sword play when blades clash.
Bang.
Bang, bang, Wookie Street Gang.
Bangarang. Bangarang.
Bangarang. Mong Tong.
You're nearsighted gynecologist.
Immortal Suck Navel.
Right. No, that's my favorite one, bro. So, unfortunately, I looked up the actual.
Oh, boy. Why
well,
would
like
you
the
do
text,
that?
and it's hemorrhoidal suck navel, which is like grosser. But the idea of immortal suck navel is so much funnier to me. Like, what even is that? But the fact that shit won't die just makes it way funnier.
Oh, God.
Immortal suck navel.
It sounds disgusting. Or maybe, what if he did say it right and it just sounds like immortal? You know, we're kids. We hear things wrong all the time.
All the time. Pre-chewed food pack of, wait, God damn it, I can never say it right. Lewd, crude, rude pack of pre-food chewed dude.
Bruh.
Hoe ass nigga.
Math tutor?
Right. Prison barber.
That to this day, that is the greatest roasting session
ever
in film history.
They were both frying each other at first.
Oh, he was baking him at the beginning.
Then Robin Williams
started throwing hate. He got that adult
wit. Like, hold on, dog. I'm a lawyer, nigga. Like, all I do is argue with people for a living.
Then he just started making him question his existence.
All he had left was, "You're a stupid man."
You man. Stupid man. You stupid man.
Bangarang.
Man. Bruh. Yep. Great way to start. Let's go, man. Episode 149, as far as I know, could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Probably wrong. Who cares? Yeah, man. Let's go. I mean, I'm kind of excited about this episode. As you guys know, I've been rewatching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z from the beginning for the first. I mean, that's something I visit every now and then, but I haven't like watched it from the absolute start all the way through in years. So having a great time doing that.
I've watched Dragon Ball more recently than Dragon Ball Z, but I watched so much Dragon Ball Z as a youngster that I kind of have it like I kind of got the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Me too. I think a lot of us did that, but what I did was I finally watched all of Dragon Ball, so I'm on Z now. So right now I'm kind of. But it's the same for me with Z. Like I literally almost know the words that they're gonna say, you know, in almost every scene.
Are you skipping filler?
Yeah, I had to because there's
Too much.
on Namek. There's like that.
Oh
there's
my
like
God,
those
bro.
episodes where they go to that fake planet. Remember they go Bulma and them go to
on the way to Namek.
Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan on the way to Namek. They go to that planet that was like a fake planet, and
so
they think
weird.
it's Namek and it's not. And those weird aliens are trying to keep them there, and they got like fake Dragon Balls and all that. Yeah, that was completely ridiculous. So, but yeah, man, what are you into currently, my friend?
So last time I talked about the three body problem book. I am now watching the 3 Body Problem show, not the Netflix show. That's not out yet. It's the Chinese version of.
Where are you watching it at?
It's on YouTube. The whole thing is on YouTube. It's subbed. And that shit is dog. That shit is some of the sweatiest, like hard sci-fi, bro. Like again, we talked about this last week. It ain't fantasy. Even so, like the first example of fantasy sci-fi you would say is what? Like first thing that comes to mind.
Fantasy sci-fi?
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Right. And I think some people think that like Star Wars is the opposite. Star Wars would be like sci-fi. According to like
sci-fi would be like what, like Mimic? Remember that movie?
Oh yeah. That would almost be like horror sci-fi.
Or
but like Star Trek is still considered to be fantasy sci-fi.
Oh wow.
But like hard sci-fi is like where there ain't no niggas don't be bullshitting at all. Like there's no like magic,
just
like ain't no force
technology.
That shit is math, bro.
Yeah.
Nigga, 2 + 2 is 4 only. And like so something like The Expanse, that's hard sci-fi. And then ironically, 2 + 2 is not 4 in the 3 Body Problem, but it's still hard sci-fi because of like the whole thing is just about like, bro, what if math just stopped working on your dumb ass, nigga? Like, what if all of a sudden?
No, this is fact. It's always been this.
Right, and that shit, right. It was so devastating that niggas decided to end their lives because of it.
Wow,
it's fire though. So it is. I'm realizing how slow it is. Like, it's 30 like 48-minute long episodes. Whoa. Which is amazing. Like I fucking love that, right? That's how like Star Trek original seasons used to be back in like the 90s. It was like 40 like full hour programming, 26 episodes per season. This is close to that. It is kind of slow because they have to, it's not, none of it is bad, but like there's a lot of like history that they have to go through. And I'm at the part now where they're talking about the history and I'm kind of like, all right, bro, let's get back to the sweaty kind of, you know what I'm saying? But it's still good. And I'm very curious to see how they adapt it in English. They will probably whitewash it, which is going to be disappointing.
Yay.
But also, man, another TV show I just got done watching is Swarm on.
Oh yeah, I saw you say that people were going to start.
Yeah, they're think piecing it.
Their think pieces on that show.
My think piece is that shit was fire. It was super. It's like
I saw like a little trailer for it. What exactly are we talking about here?
It's it's by Donald Glover, and the team behind Atlanta. So if you liked Atlanta, you'll like this. It's like surreal dark comedy kind of, with elements of like, I mean, just the surrealism piece where like some of it is you're not sure if it's really happening or not. And what is it about? It's about this woman who's like it's a very obvious like allusion to like Beyonce and her fans and how crazy they can sometimes be, or just like fandoms in general and how they cut like if you mess with somebody's fan base on Twitter that's rabid enough, they'll come and like ruin your life. It's kind of about that. Like this woman who's like a really big fan of Nyjah, I think, who is like the Beyonce stand-in, and like her adventure. And it takes some turns that I was not expecting, but it's good. It's just like weird artsy fartsy ass like dark comedy, which I fuck with heavy. I would recommend it. It's not, I don't know if you need a bunch of think pieces about it, but it's entertaining.
Internet going internet.
Agreed. What about you?
Well, I just kind of talked about what I've been watching a bunch of Dragon Ball. I also been getting caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen while getting all the way caught up with Berserk. Talked about that last time too. I mean, you know, again, you know, same thing I said last time. I think Jujutsu Kaisen, just the way they do the fights, man, and the art style is just, it's I saw somebody on the internet saying that Jujutsu Kaisen was better than Naruto, and a lot of people were you know, they were getting mad and stuff, and I was kind of like, I mean, if you're talking about the manga, yeah, it is. I think the manga is better. Like, and you know, I said before, you know, Naruto isn't, and I love it. It's classic, one of my all-time favorites. But you know, it's not anything groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fights are incredible, some of the best fights of all time. But you know, it's your you know, poster boy shonen. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Doesn't really deviate too much from that, and when you get something like Jujutsu Kaisen that does, you know, I could see it's got better art style. You know, the manga's better for sure, so I could definitely see why somebody would say that. But quick wrestling recap, man. I mean, nothing crazy, you know, nothing crazy going on. Something did happen on Dynamite that we called so long ago,
like 2 years ago, maybe,
which I thought was really cool. And I'm sure you guys remember us talking about how we didn't, you know, we weren't necessarily all in on AEW kind of feeding Bryan Danielson to MJF so early in his title run. But then we also, if you go back and watch, we also kind of said, but in that same breath, we understand that this is how you slap him instantly with the ultimate stamp of approval and credibility by beating arguably the best wrestler on the planet in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Now he's got that credibility. Now, what we wanted them to do from the start was we thought MJF's title run should have been this thing of him kind of feuding with those young pillars of AEW and going through those guys and proving that he's the top of that group, right, before he starts getting into these feuds with these like established like superstars and veterans, right? So that group of like Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, literally that's literally the guys that we were saying, right?
Yep. The pillars.
What did AEW do on Dynamite?
They brought him out.
Those same exact guys, the young pillars of AEW. The segment was fire, and I was really excited that they're gonna do this.
It was very symbolic too, because they all were like in the four corners. Like,
I loved it. It was done so well, and then like and the cool thing is that he's kind of had banger matches with all of them already. You know what I'm saying? So if you were to pick. If one of those guys had to beat him for the championship and be the next AEW champ, even if it was a transitional champ, that's okay. Who would it be for you?
So I think to beat him. So here's what. Let me answer the question this way. His foil, in my opinion, in terms of like being the exact opposite of him, but also like the same, is Jungle Boy. Like that, he's his foil. Like they're like both. Like the same, they're both kind of like small guy, but like technical wrestlers. Although Jungle Boy is a little bit ahead of him in terms of technical skills, as opposed to where like MJF is ahead of him on the mic. But they both are like projecting. I mean, MJF is already a star. Jungle Boy is on his way to being a star. So I think that who should ultimately win that, and not just because Jungle Boy's my cousin. I will never stop saying that. That shit is true. Shit is flat out true.
Got tickets.
Got tickets. You know what I'm saying? With my name on it from Jungle Boy Jack Perry, nigga, to Omari. That shit flat out happened. I showed Noveliss a picture that my cousin sent me of Jungle Boy and Anna Jay at their birthday party.
Yeah, and with a wrestling ring in the backyard.
And my cousin Rashawn's daughter was playing in Jungle Boy's on his wrestling ring. Like, we know that nigga, like for real. I mean, I don't know him yet because I haven't seen him since he was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. But my cousin Rashawn, like that's them, they're family as hell. And Rashawn is like my first cousin. Anyways,
boom.
So like, I'm gonna rock for him, not just because of that, but also like I just think in terms of the story, like he's just the opposite. He's like his foil. He's the the Batman to his Joker, sort of. But what I think will probably happen is, I think if it were me writing it, I would have him challenge all. I would have all three of them challenge, and then he has banger matches with all of them. He beats Darby Allin is who I think the second to last, the sub ball should be. But Sammy, he would beat Sammy first, have a banger with Darby Allin, and maybe even Darby Allin go over as a tradition as a transitional champ for a minute, and then some shenanigans happens where MJF gets the strap back, and then who like ends the title run for the time being, and I would have it be Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that they have the best chemistry out of these guys, because, like you said, they are so opposites. Both of them can wrestle, but just the fact that MJF's kind of that like bully, and he's like untouchable on the mic, and then Jungle Boy's kind of like the quintessential baby face. Like he is just 100% white meat baby face. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of. I think I mentioned this before, but he kind of, I mean, they don't wrestle the same way, but in terms of like all American baby face hero, he's got some
he got some Ricky Steamboat to him for sure. I think so too. And then he had a great feud already with Darby. Remember, they have good stuff going back and forth. Like, but on the magnitude of like a world title, can just the videos that Darby would be making and stuff, like they would be incredible. And you know, Sammy can obviously wrestle. He's incredible. I think AEW has, I think this is a weird spot for him, not because he doesn't belong, because he does. He was one of those young pillars as well. But I think he's in a weird spot right now where they are trying to do like MJF is obviously, and I'm not somebody who's like, oh, one guy's got to be heel, one guy's got to be baby. I don't care about that. But just like, what are we doing with Sammy? You know, like, because if they wrestle each other, it's going to be one of those weird things where the crowd is actually on MJF's side, because people can't stand Sammy. You know what I'm saying?
He needs to get away from the JLA, in my opinion. Or is it?
I think so too. Society. I think he's been there for too long, and then he like left, and then he came back. Yeah, I agree. I think they need to get him.
I would love to see him start his own stable. You think he's ready for that yet?
I don't know if he's ready for that, but I think he would fit well with. And you know, I'm not necessarily like, but because Sammy kind of came up when I first started learning about him, he came from that lucha crowd. You know what I mean? That's where I first, years and years and years ago, that's where I first was seeing him, and he would come to the ring with this like, it was like an animal skin.
Oh, it was a panda mask.
It was sweet. Yeah. But I think he would fit with, even if, so I'm not saying he's got to be with like Lucha Bros or nothing, but because I love Death Triangle and I love what they're doing with them. I'm not sure what's going on with the Pac. He hasn't been there in a while. But
he needs to
like,
move to America,
even if he does, because that's why he's always off TV for so long, because he has trouble coming back here, or he just doesn't live here. But I could see something where he, like, you know, I feel like they always don't know what they're doing with Roosh, and I like Roosh, and I think Sammy would be good like with that group, that crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Roosh and you know, and Bandito, like, you know what I mean? Like if we did like Sammy, Roosh, and Bandito, like that would be amazing. You know what I'm saying? And Bandito and Roosh are brothers too, I believe.
Oh, really?
I think so. Or I could be wrong. It's either Roosh and Dragon Lee or Roosh and Bandito that are brothers. One of those.
I was just looking up Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee's amazing. He went to NXT though. I was really hoping he would go to AEW, but he went to NXT. But he should be. Like, he should have a shot at being champ, because that dude is off the chain.
Didn't he have a brief program on AEW for a minute?
Yeah, he did that. He had a match on AEW. He did that.
He was a part of that.
He was in that trios match.
Yeah.
So maybe I think he's Roosh's brother. Pretty sure.
He's young too. I didn't know how.
He's super young. Yeah. But he had some amazing stuff in New Japan with Hiromu Takahashi and Will Ospreay too. A few years back. But yeah, man, that's what's going on at AEW. Match of the week, I have to say the trios match from Dynamite, the Elite versus House of Black versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. But the match was fire. I am all in on Kenny Omega finally getting back to some single stuff. I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. Also,
Agreed.
Push House of Black to the moon. They're sweet.
Yep.
All right, man. Mandalorian,
Yes, sir.
season 3, episode 3. Little bit of a pump fake.
Yeah.
What did you think about this latest episode? Also, spoiler alerts if you have not seen Mandalorian season 3, episode 3.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I'm reacting particularly badly because I was on the treadmill while I was watching it. So like I'll be wanting to
fall asleep and fall off the treadmill.
I'll be wanting to be rewarded for like the treadmill work.
Yeah, you deserve it. You're out here exercising.
Right. So like give me some entertainment. This was my least favorite Mandalorian episode maybe
ever.
Of the series. And I mean, so you know here's why I think they did this, because I heard the discussion online about it, and people reacted positively to it because they said that it reminded them of Andor. And I've said,
and you don't like that show.
I did not like Andor. That shit was fucking boring, bro. Like, was it a well-made show that like was full of whatever, blah blah blah? Sure, but like I don't need that in Star Wars, bro. Like, give me some stuff that's cool.
Right.
There was no cool stuff that was happening in this show, and that doesn't mean like you can make it cool. Like Mandalorian has been fucking cool while also like not being like cheesy, right? Mm-hmm. So you can do it. I just feel like they broke away from a format. They broke away from a format that was working really, really well with Mandalorian for one that has been at minimum like divisive. Like there are a lot of people who like Andor. I did not, but there are a lot of people who love it. But for me, it didn't work. So they spent like the whole meat of the episode was about this very strange like Big Brother like 1984 ass like plot where they're making, and again like there's this other thing that they're doing that I am not sure about is that they're trying to do this thing where they're like overthinking Star Wars, and it's like, well, yeah, like sure the Empire was bad, but also the fucking Rebel Alliance sucks because they're also horrifying and cruel. Like this is a fucking kid show, man. Like it's okay to like and this is me, like I'm the person who loves dark, complicated characters. But in Star Wars, though, like y'all gotta remember, this shit is for children. It's all right to have good guys and bad guys. Like, we're turning the Rebel Alliance, or not even the Rebel Alliance.
There's no clear definition of good and evil, man.
I think the point, though, is that it's not the Rebel Alliance anymore. I liked the whole idea of the Rebel Alliance has to get their hands dirty in order to fight for justice. Like, I love that. Like, that's a complication that I invite.
Right.
But this whole thing of like, as soon as the New Republic takes over, they just fucking immediately double down back into a fake version of the Empire again, and like straight up like being indoctrinating people and goddamn like using a literal mind flayer on somebody. Yeah. Like what the fuck, bro? Like brainwashing people. Yeah. Like, come on, dog.
The Borg gullet.
Right. It brought the Borg gullet into that. Bogalit.
That part will never not be funny,
bro. That's like the greatest scene, the greatest moment in Star Wars.
He just comes in there and my man stared at him. He just like Bogalit. He's like, wait, what'd he say?
Bogalit. Yes.
My man's like, wait, what's that?
The fuck? And then that nigga came in, slimy, pop locking into the door.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
And people thought that part was trash. That
was not. That part
so
was
funny,
so
bro.
Hilarious.
Love it. I think it was funny unintentionally, but still, it was funny.
It was definitely funny. But I mean, like you said, I don't hate it. I'm okay. I'm okay with an episode like this if there's like 15 episodes in the season.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
That was the last episode.
But, you know, we need to be going up. You know, we need to be...
Yeah, give me the stuff. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, we need to be going up.
This was episode 4 or 3? 3. Okay. So we're probably like close to halfway done.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So if there's like 15 episodes, you know, I'm okay with something like this. But there's not. And we know there's only going to be like probably 8 or something. So doing something like this, come on, let's get it. We gotta keep the wheel spinning. The beginning of the episode was amazing. The ending was dope. But really, it went in a complete different direction than I think everybody thought it would after the start of that episode.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to see how many episodes there are.
Man, 4. That was it. That was the finale.
Season 1, season 2. Fuck. First headline: is The Mandalorian season 3 episode 3 really the worst so far?
Yeah, I think it might have been one of the worst episodes ever.
I think it's 8. I think there's going to be 8 episodes here.
See, we're almost halfway there, and you do, and I feel like I can't remember. I feel like they did that once last season too. Remember, there was like we were getting towards the end, and they kind of did like an episode where we were like, all right, one of those, like they do those. They always throw in like one little slow cooker episodes in the middle of everything being at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In the middle of everything being the tension being really high, and then they're just like, "Oh, here's an episode about a cow farmer." And
the first 3 episodes of Andor were like that. Did you ever get around to watching Andor?
I watched the first literally 3 episodes, and that was it. I never even finished it. Sorry, I know it's good, but it was boring. It was boring to me.
It's all right. Like it's well made, but is it interesting? Like, no.
I don't know. So
who cares?
From the start, Cassian Andor is just not someone I was interested in to begin with. So it would have taken a lot for me to, and I love Rogue One, right? But he's also like my probably 5th or 6th, 7th favorite character in that movie.
Out of a main cast of 6.
Like it would be Sheridan Way first,
yep.
Jyn Erso second,
yep.
Galen Erso, her dad, probably third. Like it's been super interesting to see his story about him.
Yeah, sure.
Baze Malbus, who's the guy I liked him, like the pilot that got his mind wiped. There were just better characters. I just didn't think he was all that interesting.
Yep.
So to have to watch a full show about him, and it's like kind of boring and slow. It would have taken a lot for me to watch it.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it.
I guess I'm just not. I'm not smart enough.
I guess we're all assholes. Fuck it.
But yeah, Mandalorian. That sounded like an earthquake. Mandalorian. If we're gonna do that, you gotta give us more episodes, man. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
All right, man. I don't watch The Last of Us. Didn't play the game. Not into zombies like that. But I hear this is a good show. I know you hate Joel just from being your friend and always hearing you say,
"Fuck Joel." That's what you hear me say
for the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
That's always been your take on Last of Us, the games, and now the show. So how is the show going? And I know you've talked about how it compares to the game, but just what's going on with the show, and are you still liking it? Because before you were saying that it was still good.
Oh no, it's it never let down at all. It was amazing. I didn't even the biggest complaint that people had was that there wasn't enough zombies, enough infected. But honestly, I didn't even notice. Bro, who cares, bro? The infected were just a gameplay obstacle, right? The story had almost nothing to do with them, right? The only reason why people want more infected was because they played the game and remember spending a lot of time having to deal with them niggas. But that's because it's a video game. You need stuff to do. It's not, without the infected, it would just be without the infected, it would just be the HBO show, which is why the HBO show doesn't have that many infected, because it's about the story, and the story is the thing that's good about that game, right? The gameplay, it's just a cover shooter. There's nothing great game changing about the gameplay at all. It's really just a cover shooter. But the way that it creates this world, the character building, the emotional depth, the The kind of, I mean, there's not really a ton of twists and turns, but it just forces you to ask very like hard questions about like what would you do in this scenario. And we've talked about this before. Like those of us who played the game know what happens. The cure for a potential cure for this infection is on Ellie's brain, and the only way they can extract it to try to create a cure is by killing her. And taking her brain, and Joel is like, nope, I've been traumatized because I lost my daughter 20 years ago, and now I'm claiming this girl that I didn't give a shit about until a couple of months ago. Now she's my daughter, and now I'm gonna doom the entire mankind for this shit, right? Like, now fuck you, Joel, you're a selfish son of a bitch. And I liked Joel a lot, right? I liked him a lot in this show. I liked him better in the show than I did in the game, and I was wondering if the way that the show humanizes him, would it make it easier for me to side with Joel or to like have empathy for Joel? Boy, does. And I honestly think the game, the TV show picks a side. The game was fairly neutral. Like the whole thing was like they wanted to make you feel weird about Joel, right? Like they wanted to subvert the expectation of like, hey, once I finish playing this game, like, man, Joel kind of sucks. He's sort of the bad guy.
Right.
But like, it didn't work because, incels were so in love with Joel. They like decided to change their worldview and endorse genocide in order to keep being a fan of Joel. Right. It was just crazy to see the reaction to that.
Oh my gosh.
The show feels like it picks a side where it's like, oh no, that nigga is a piece of shit.
Right. And
like,
and you think that the show is kind of pushing that message more than the game
in my
did.
opinion. And again, did it pick a side necessarily? I don't know, but it to me, from my perspective, it made his selfishness on clearer display. And the reason why is because like, so the last level of the game is where you have to go through the hotel or through the hospital and like kill all the guards to get to the operating room. In the show, bro, like he was like hunting niggas down. Like, it wasn't just like, I'm gonna kill you just if you happen to like be in my way. Like, he was like going after niggas and like making it a point to like, nah, like I'm punishing y'all for doing this type shit. Like, he was like, it just made it very clear that like he had fully gone to the dark side on some Anakin at the temple type shit. And like, yeah, like it was, and he also kills, I think in the show, like there's a final scene where you have to, or not the final scene, but one of the final scenes where you get Joel in the operating room with the doctor and two nurses, and in the game you just kill the doctor and the nurses, I think you let them live. I think this is true, but in the fucking show he brutally murders all of them,
right?
Which is like,
and in the game you choose.
You could, yeah. You don't have to kill them. I don't think you can kill them. I don't remember. But even though I just played the shit like right before it came out, but I can't remember that detail. Either way, to me it's very clear that they like are really all in on. Oh no, Joel is like he is fully embracing his inner monster in this moment. And then the whole thing at the end where like Ellie confronts him and it's like, yo, like, all this shit you told me about because she was unconscious the whole time, so she didn't know any of this happened. And she directly confronted him because she had a feeling something was off. Like, bro, we did all this work and ain't nothing happened. We ain't got no cure. And he was like, nah, like there is no cure. As a matter of fact, there's a bunch of folks like you, and it don't matter. Like they've stopped looking for a cure, so don't even worry about it.
Right.
And she had a feeling something was off, and she directly confronted him like, hey, bro, like all that shit you told me about the hospital, that shit was true. And then he lied to her face. And like in the game it's a little bit less ambiguous, but in the show it was very clear like Ellie does not believe him. Ellie is like, oh, okay, word. That's how we doing this.
Right.
And like mild spoilers for part 2, like they never really recover from that. Like that moment drives a wedge between their relationship that they never really recover from. Which is gonna set up the second season, and it's gonna be good. Good show, man. Good show.
So they're gonna do a season 2, like guaranteed?
Yes. It's already been greenlit. They probably are going to do a third season as well because they said that part 2, the story of part 2, the game, the sequel will probably be 2 seasons instead of 1.
Right. Okay.
So good. High bar for video games now. And video games should, and again, bro, like if there's any, this is just more data to suggest that y'all need to like stop trying to make movies about these video games. Make series, make TV series instead of movies. That's gonna always work out better.
Yep.
So
probably the same would go for comic books, maybe. I don't know. All right, man. Look, I think it's time, because we've also been critical of Dragon Ball at times, you know,
sure,
especially the newer stuff. But I think it's time the SwordCast puts some respect,
right, no T,
on Dragon Ball, man. I think, and you know, I said this in the Discord. I think that a lot of people, once they kind of graduate into that next, into that next stratosphere of anime, right? When people graduate from only having seen Dragon Ball to Z, and now they're watching all these obscure titles, and they're, moving on to some other things, different genres outside of shonen and everything. I think when people do that, they look back and they frown upon Dragon Ball, right? Like they call it, they say it's like basic, or it's like for beginners, right? That's a beginner anime.
Hey,
like,
baby's first anime.
You don't watch anime at all if you know what I mean? And I think, the Goku fan base annoys a lot of people. So,
that's definitely true.
People, they also use that and it kind of fuels their opinion about Dragon Ball. But to that, I say this. Is Dragon Ball a gateway anime? Absolutely.
It's the gateway anime for many of us. It is the
gateway anime. It's a lot of us, it's the first thing that we saw. We didn't even know what it was, but for a lot of us it is. It is definitely a gateway anime, but that doesn't mean that's not a classic. That doesn't mean that it's not great. We all grew up on Dragon Ball. We love it. I think it is still fire. And it is an absolute classic. And I think that people need to stop trying to say that it's, beginner anime, because it's not. It's good. With that said, we love Dragon Ball, man. There's so many arcs. What is your favorite Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z arc? So right now we're keeping it original, right? We're talking about Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, no Super right now.
My favorite Dragon Ball arc is probably Teo Pai Pai.
Teo Pai Pai.
And the first.
So including Z, you would still say that?
Oh, I was gonna break them up.
That's fine.
And the 2 World Martial Arts tournaments, obviously. I
think there was 3.
Were
because
there?
I think there was. I think there's 3 because I think that.
Oh, because he fights King Piccolo in the
second one. The first one, Jackie Chun.
Right.
And then the third one is
Piccolo
Junior.
Yeah, okay, I think you might be right. So yeah, I would say that my favorite of those is the second one, the second Budokai tournament. Yeah, I would say that it's. We'll talk more about that later. In terms of Dragon Ball Z, it's hard, man. There are a lot of there's so many. I feel like every arc up until the Cell Saga is phenomenal,
flawless.
Yeah. Cell Saga, I think, and I love the Cell Saga. I think I would probably put the Frieza Saga, even though it's so fucking long. But man, it's just that defines Dragon Ball.
I think so too.
But man, I weep at how much they lost their way after the Cell Saga, bro.
Yeah, it should have ended it.
Agreed. I mean, they just and Boo is he's a fine villain, but it's just man, what the fuck were y'all? It's just it's just the plot points are all over the place,
and then
bro.
it's super heavy on the comedy too.
Yeah, very much.
It's just
so.
weird.
Yeah,
didn't seem like the same show.
So I guess my answer is that despite it being. So I'm gonna break up the Namek saga and the Frieza saga as kind of 2 different arcs, And the Frieza arc is the one that I think is the best because the Namek arc is good, but it's just so goddamn long, bro. It's so long.
Yeah, man. So I agree. I mean, I think my favorite Dragon Ball arc would definitely be the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. That is when we got to see Goku grown up. You know what I'm saying? And then that is my favorite just part of Dragon Ball when it's just like back when they were doing just like it was just straight up martial arts, and then this is kind of the real, like this is like the official kind of passing of this is kind of Roshi passing the torch to Goku as like the new protector of Earth finally. And then like, bro, the fights were so good in this. Like, yeah, obviously the final with Goku and Piccolo, that was amazing. And then you had like Piccolo and Krillin, that was still good. And then you had Goku and Tien, like, which was good. And then there was like Yamcha fights what's that dude's name? Shin with the with the white shirt, I think that was his name. Then Tien fights his old master Tail Pai Pai. Like, there's some really good fights, man. Like then it was like that weird cute fight with Goku and Chi Chi. Remember before? And that was like the first time he'd seen her in so long. So that's my favorite Dragon Ball arc. My favorite Z arc, I gotta agree, man. I kind of lump Namek and Frieza together.
I think we all.
Because it's like the same.
It was on the same planet.
It's the same thing.
It was literally all on Namek.
It's the same arc. It's incredibly long, but like you said, this arc is what defines Dragon Ball Z for me. Yeah. There's so much going on, and there's so many good, like, this is like the first time they're on a new planet, right? Like the whole show is like in this planet that we've never seen before.
That green ass sky, bro, for like 50 episodes.
And then it's like it's like these new people, these Nameks, and then like there's you got King Kai hyping up Frieza, and like he's supposed to be this like strongest villain that's been in there in so long, and
we believe the hype, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the hype was real, and then he definitely lived up to the hype.
In terms of like a power scaling jump, that was the most extreme by far.
He was ridiculous, and then you had like the Ginyu Force, which was funny, and then you had like the whole thing of Goku getting to Namek in this spaceship, and then like training the whole way there and like 100 times gravity, right? And then like so there was that anticipation of like he's about to be off the chain when he gets off this ship, you know what I'm saying?
And boy, he came in and beat the brakes off Raccoon immediately. He beat the dog shit out that nigga right away. And so my only gripe, the only flaw of that series, of that like arc, was like the fucking ass pull that they did of Ginyu, like, I'm getting my ass whipped. So I'm
just gonna change into somebody else's body.
Right, Chris Jericho fucking grabbing a baseball bat and fucking chair shot, cheating ass bullshit.
That was dumb.
But it was the boost though. You can argue that it was the boost that like because the Saiyan MacGuffin of like if you lose, all of a sudden you get stronger. You could argue that him like beating his own ass,
right?
Because then Ginyu was, you remember Ginyu like punched himself to death and
in the heart,
right?
Dog,
fucking
hilarious.
asshole, dog.
So funny. And then you had like that. Then you had the whole thing with like this element of like Krillin and Gohan and Bulma trying to get these Dragon Balls, but also like, okay, Vegeta's here, like we're scared of this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like that was cool. And then like
had like 3 heel turns in that
one
arc.
Then like the Vegeta Revenge Tour was insane. Like you got him turning his back on Frieza and trying to find the Dragon Balls before he does and make his wish for immortality, and like then you got him, like he had some good fights too, like Zarbon, remember?
Yep.
And then he had his dope moments, and
somebody in the Discord said he punched the stuffing out of Q.
Dog, he did. and then you got him like just these moments where he's like, oh, Vegeta he might be kind of a good guy.
Nope.
And then he's
hey, come here, Gohan. Fucking bitch,
bro. And then he he kicks Gohan in the stomach, and then but then again, right? We see him heal Goku, right? Put Goku in the tank, and then we see him, to his advantage, right? And then we see him, he gives Krillin and Gohan the Saiyan armor, which was cool. But again, all for his personal gain. And then when Frieza's coming and he lifts up Dende and he's like screaming at him what a jerk.
Yeah.
And then then he also kind of stood there and watched Gohan get killed by Frieza. He was just gonna watch. But then my favorite part of this, I mean, obviously for me, was Piccolo, right? Piccolo spent the whole time on Namek, or not on Namek, but with King Kai, just listening to him talk about how strong Frieza was and how he shouldn't, and how nobody should try to fight him. And what's the first thing my guy does? My guy said, "What?
Hey man,
Gohan's in trouble. I don't. Right. Hey, Gohan, wish me back
right now.
Nobody else, because I will fight this dude.
I'm about to fight his ass right now.
Wish his Piccolo back." Then you got this whole thing with like Piccolo knowing he's Namekian but never been in the planet before. Like he gets there, sees it for the first time, then he sees Nil, some random Namek that's dying, fuses with him.
Well, he's dying because he got his ass whooped by Frieza.
Then,
he didn't just happen to be.
I'm saying to Piccolo, like Piccolo doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
like,
then
what the fuck happened to you?
And then
bro?
he fuses with him, shows up, no questions asked, bro. Always down to defend his boy Gohan. So amazing. I think
another underrated scene was when Vegeta was about to die. Or did he die? Did he die on Namek?
Vegeta?
Yeah, I can't remember if he. I know he was like near death.
I think. I
can't remember if he is wished back or not.
Vegeta, because he tries to get Krillin to kill him
so he can turn Super Saiyan.
Bro,
and he kept boasting about how he was already a Super Saiyan, and niggas was like, bro, shut your ass up, nigga. But no, my favorite part though was when he was like, after he had gotten his ass beat again by Frieza, he had that speech to Goku where he was like, dog, you gotta do this shit for the culture, bro. I don't fuck with you, but like, this nigga, he done kept our people down for generations, Facts. Dog. Like, you gotta do this for the culture, bro.
And then, like, dog, Goku just kept trying to see the bright in Vegeta, and then he just takes off on him. Remember when he's fighting the Ginyu Force? He's fighting what's my man's name with the white hair, the red dude? I forgot his name.
Jace.
Yeah, Jace. He's fighting Jace and Captain Ginyu, and then Vegeta just takes off.
He just bust out of there like, hey, fuck this shit, bro.
he's like he just flies. He's such a jerk, dog. I'm sorry. I know people love Vegeta, but I hated him for so long, bro.
I mean, but that's why the growth is so good, because he was a bastard.
He's got some of the best character development, but oh my god, I hated him so much. And then obviously Goku versus Frieza turning Super Saiyan, like that arc is what defines Dragon Ball for me. Is so good, love it. Boom. All right, man. So we talked about our favorite Dragon Ball arcs, favorite Dragon Ball Z arcs, and you just mentioned character development, man. Like before Dragon Ball started kind of flying off the hinges with all this like extra crazy stuff, there were some good characters, man. Like Vegeta, obviously, right, goes from being a complete scumbag,
dog, the worst, dog,
to being like a fan favorite, you know, and being one of the best characters in the show. Obviously Piccolo, man. Obviously Piccolo going from an enemy to a protector, a best friend, a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, low key, Vegeta gets a lot of credit for being that villain to hero arc, but Piccolo did it first.
Yeah.
Piccolo did it first.
No, he did.
It was. I think the reason why is because Vegeto's was more gradual, whereas Piccolo was like, all right, fine. Like, you beat me.
Piccolo instantly, you know, kind of became, as soon when Dragon Ball Z came around, he instantly, you know, was
right. Well, he was still like, they were very weary of that nigga when he first showed up in Dragon Ball.
And he was a jerk too in the beginning, but.
Gohan softened his heart.
Yeah, Gohan softened his heart, laid his life down for your boy, and then, you know, from then on, he was a good dude. But yeah, there's even Goku, man. Like before they started, Goku was much more of a.
Oh my god, man.
He was much more of a protector than he was a just trying to kind of fight and get stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was always his thing. And then as the show went on and we got Super, and now he's just kind of obsessed with leveling up.
I mean, to me, it started after he died, because it's like the character just changed so much after he died in the Cell Saga.
Yeah.
Like after that,
and that's exactly when, and it's almost, we all know the story that like this was supposed to be the Gohan show, and like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you can tell, you can see it, because Goku's not in it that much, and you know what I'm saying. It's really around Gohan, and then there's these moments where Goku comes and he's the hero, but he's out of it a lot
for most. And that used to frustrate me as a kid.
Yeah, because we wanted to, exactly, like we wanted to see Goku.
Yeah,
but you could tell that it was definitely meant to be the passing of the torch to Gohan, which is why they should have ended it after the Cell Saga. But yeah, man, let's pull up these Z Fighters, dog. So we all know the Z Fighters. We love the Z Fighters.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna pull it and then put it on the screen here.
So we all love the Z Fighters. We kind of did this in the Discord a little bit, but let's rank the Z Fighters in order of your favorite to least favorites.
Yes, sir. You got to filibuster for like 2 more seconds.
Oh, bet. So the thing about the Z Fighters, right? And sadly, this is kind of like the downfall of Naruto Shippuden, man. Like all these great characters that were so cool in the first series, you know what I'm saying? And then they kind of fall off. As the series goes on. Dragon Ball definitely did that a little bit. And I don't know, and it wasn't because they would be present.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Naruto kind of, people would just not even be around sometimes, but the characters would be present, but the problem was that they just weren't continuing to, you know what I mean? Like while the Saiyans were all getting their power-ups, and even though I'm not satisfied with how they did Piccolo, and I think he should have got stronger and been, you know what I mean? They just he even kind of dissolved into like not fighting much, and you know what I mean? And I said before,
strategy character.
Yeah, and before he got his like big power up, literally like last year.
Yeah. After like 30 years.
Right. I had always said I would have been perfectly fine with him being like not fighting anymore, just being like a master, like an old, like
Kami.
Yeah, like being like an old grandmaster type of character, just giving advice and training people. Like I would have been okay with that.
But stop putting him out
stop
here
having him out here losing.
Smacked.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So with that said, let's rank the Z Fighters from your favorite to your least favorite. Chiaotzu!
Well, he ain't gonna be at the top of my list.
Exploding baby man.
All right, man. So I'm gonna start from the bottom. I mean, we kind of already said it, man. It's got to be Chiaotzu at number 10.
Chiaotzu!
Even in Dragon Ball, he was not that good.
I always was just like, what is he?
I don't know. I got nothing.
Like I even watched. Like I remember the I remember the little Tien story, and it's still not super clear.
Yeah, Tien
exactly what Chiaotzu is.
So I don't know what Chiaotzu is. I know that Tien is like not exactly human. He's like a subhuman.
Yeah,
or like maybe not subhuman, but like a offshoot of humanity that has 4 arms. That they're like a triclops is what they're called, because it's 4 arms and the 3 eyes. Tien or Chiaotzu, bro, I don't know he's like a doll, like a Chinese Chucky doll that is.
Oh man!
And I remember in Dragon Ball when they fought him in Dragon Ball, he just was like super gimmicky, and they were like, "What the fuck do I even do against this thing? All it does is float around and like." I think Chiaotzu though is the first of the Z Fighters to master flight.
Chiaotzu,
I believe.
I think so too.
Because I think he introduced it in that fight against Goku when Goku was young.
Mm-hmm.
Super weird. Anyways, so he's number I don't know how many other 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he's number 9 for me. Number 8 would be Yamcha. Unfortunately, fall from grace for Yamcha, bro. He was a dog in Dragon Ball,
bro. He sure was, man. And
he was a dog in Dragon Ball.
I think Yamcha's got the biggest fall from grace out of everybody.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, nah, it's not close. This is gonna disappoint a lot of folks, man, because I know he's a fan favorite for some, but I think the guy who has the second biggest fall from grace is Krillin. Unfortunately, even because of the status that he had at first, right? Like he was the duagonist or duotragonist or whatever the fuck the word is with Goku, and like he kind of got he still can hold his own, but like,
and he also but Krillin was never a coward, right? Like
he wasn't no bitch.
Always there. He was always.
He was scary, but he was able to talk himself into action.
And
most of the time.
he would like, you know, he tried to fight Frieza. You know what I'm saying, to protect Gohan.
Yep.
So definitely a real one.
So he's a real one, but I unfortunately, this is less about like me not liking the character and more about like, damn, they just did him kind of dirty. Like they just made it very clear, like he's the strongest human character, arguably. Well, technically he is because Tien is not exactly human. So like, but like, damn, like the gulf between humans and Saiyans is like that, like just totally insurmountable. Like you can't give him no little kind of nothing.
Annoying.
So like, yeah, just on the strength of the fall from grace, it's got to be Krillin next. Then you've got Tien, who's like of the original. What happened?
No, I'm just looking at.
Oh, so I saw this joke. He just reminded me this joke I heard on Facebook where it was like, when black people get mad, it's like they talking over a fence. That's what you doing, like. Say it
again. Bro, that's hilarious and also accurate.
Accurate as hell. So in terms of
that is funny.
The next, I would have to go next. Tien, who I've always liked Tien.
Yeah, he looks cool too.
He does look cool. He's got a sweet ass move that like Tri-Beam is cool.
Tri-Beam. Ha!
Yeah, his signature move is one of the best ones. And he was the last of the original Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball guys, not counting Piccolo. I guess so. Yeah, him and Piccolo were the last ones, and even maybe surpassing Piccolo in terms of like power until Piccolo got that last upgrade, to like hold his own with the rest of the guys, which is because I think there's a movie where he fights Trunks and like kind of holds his own against Trunks.
Yeah, I think that's in BoJack.
Is that
I want to say it's a BoJack movie.
Yeah, because it was
they're
like
in that like tournament at the beginning. Yeah.
And he like holds his own. And I was like, damn, Tien is like that.
Sure it's BoJack.
So yeah, Tien emerges as like one of the guys who emerges from the original crew that can still hang with like the villains. As he famously said, the joke that we always tell, where he straight up didn't bring Yamcha and Chiaotzu because they couldn't hang.
Dog. That is so funny.
Dog.
That's in the Frieza movie, right?
Yes.
Oh my! And he nothing prompts it.
Yeah, like nah. Nobody asked him what it was.
He could have just showed up and be like, "What's up, guys? I made it." But this dude pulls up and says, "I didn't bring Chiaotzu or Yamcha. These guys are too dangerous for them."
It was almost like he was like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" Huh? What'd you say? Oh yeah. Yeah, it was because them niggas trash. That's why I didn't bring them.
Literally nobody said anything. That's why it was so. Right. He just pulls up. There's like a little moment of silence, and then he just comes out of nowhere. Oh, I ain't bring them because they weak. Also, that scene, that little fight in that Frieza movie, that's like one of the best moments of Dragon Ball, giving all the Z fighters their moment, because they all have some decent moments in that scene. Sure. That's pretty dope.
For sure. All right, man. The next,
but oh my god, that part is so funny.
Number 5. This is gonna shock some people, and it's only because of how much the character kind of went astray after a while. Goku, number 5.
Hey, whoa!
I know. I have a surprise at the top of the list though. But Goku, the full Goku story, I would have him at the 5th most interesting in terms of favorites. Because he's sort of an absentee in Dragon Ball Z, especially. He's sort of an absentee main character.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, it's the same thing. That's kind of
the entire like plot is like Goku's on the way. It's like the whole plot. Every single arc is
Goku's
on the way
waiting for him to get there.
And he dies like after every fucking. He's died 3 times, I think.
He dies when Raditz gets there.
Mm-hmm.
He dies in Cell arc. I think twice.
Yeah, that's just twice. Okay, yeah. Because Piccolo kills him and Raditz together. Then he dies.
Piccolo was like,
all right,
super
cool.
right.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, all right, Piccolo. I got one way to kill him. It's gonna be, dog. I just need you to do me a favor, man. It's gonna be. I'm asking a lot of you.
It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard for you to do.
I understand if you don't want to do it, but you have to.
Piccolo, you have to hit us both with the special beam cannon. Right. Piccolo said, "Oh, straight? All right, bet." Hold on, grab that nigga right quick. I got you. Goku was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, he dies there, and then he dies at the end of the in the Cell arc when he kills him, when he does the bomb thing.
Bro.
So yeah. And how about coming back with the instant teleportation MacGuffin, just because the plot needed it?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I love Goku. He's legendary, but just his arc in Dragon Ball Z, despite being his moments being some of the best ones, like his fight versus Vegeta, his fight versus the Ginyu Force, his fight versus Frieza. In my opinion, he kind of peaked after that. Like he doesn't really have any like iconic moments. I
thought him versus Cell was really good.
It was good, but I
really like that.
But just the whole Cell saga is so obviously geared towards Gohan that it's hard for that to stand out. I think another iconic moment might be him versus like Majin Vegeta and like the brief Super Saiyan 3 moment that was
cool. Yeah.
But just the whole Buu saga was just weird. So anyways, yeah, I'll talk more about Goku later. Number 4, Trunks.
Hey.
Trunks is cool, man. Like the sort of
very cool.
The cool like future character with the sweet ass look and like kind of mysterious.
Kind of look different than everybody else.
Yeah, like hey, what's that guy? What's he got going on?
Pulled up with at the time when Super Saiyan was like brand new and just did it.
Right. And Vegeta was like, bro, what the fuck?
No!
Are you kidding me? Like, hell no.
He's so bad. Like, now I'm 3rd! Like, that's probably what his thing. Damn it! Oh, man.
And then how about Piccolo?
No, like, the more I think... I'm sorry, this is off track, but the more I think about it, it is so crazy that Bulma wound up with Vegeta.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about what he was when she had her first encounter with him on planet Namek.
Just like a horrifying like abuser.
She literally had a nightmare that he was gonna kill her. Remember when she was in that cave?
Yeah, in the cave.
She had a nightmare that he was gonna kill her, and he was just like a piece of. He was just a horrible person. It's just.
But then, if you think about it, though, like Bulma was the only one who like stopped being afraid of that nigga after a while. Like, man, fuck you.
Yeah.
But then they did just like disappear for a couple of years and then came back with a child. Like that's
true. Bulma also sneaky one of the smartest anime characters
ever.
Yeah,
easily, no doubt. But I was gonna say, how about Piccolo absolutely spoiling the reveal of Trunks' parentage,
bruh?
Just on some like, oh no, I heard them niggas talking like from way over here. Just completely, and he told Goku.
And he told Goku.
Goku was like, "Bro, what the fuck are you talking about?" Huh?
Hilarious.
But it was a cool, like, because you don't see the beginnings of Trunks, like it actually happening until like I think after the Cell Saga,
Yeah.
right? At the beginning, during because there's a time skip after the Cell Saga. There's like no, because he's when the Buu Saga begins, like Goten and Trunks are already little. They're like 7 and 8 years old.
There's a time skip because
I know there is a. Are you saying that there's 2 time skips?
No,
Because there's a time skip. You talking about between the android or between like the
end of the Cell Saga and the.
Well, no. So yes, I know there's a time skip there, but like after the like brief Frieza comes back saga when he gets sliced into
chili
into mincemeat by Trunks
taco meat.
I think there's a brief time skip there between there and the beginning of the Cell Saga.
Yeah,
and I think that's where Baby Trunks shows up. And then after the Cell Saga's over, there's like a 7-year time skip where like they're like grown or they're like baby or little kids now, and Gohan is grown up and looking suspiciously like Yamcha. You remember those theories that Yamcha is secretly Gohan's father? That's hilarious.
Yes, I do.
So speaking of Piccolo,
oh man, they should have kept Gohan's long hair. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Like, he looked so sweet before he went to Namek, and she gave him a freaking bowl cut.
Oh my god, worst hairstyle ever in the history of anime. Look trash. All right, man. Number 3, dog. Our guy Piccolo with the weighted do-rag. One of the few honorary black characters in anime, even though he's obviously an alien. Papa Bear, bro. Like, come on, bro. Got to protect my children.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And I already know, like, you have a soft spot for anime characters like that.
I do.
I haven't talked to you about this. Do you think do you see a little bit of yourself in those characters because of how you deal with your kids as a coach?
I think so. I think I do, especially like Piccolo, Kakashi. Yeah, like the teacher characters.
Even Steve from Stranger Things, bro.
Right? Yeah, I like Steve from Stranger Things. For sure.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I know you're gonna talk a lot about Piccolo, so I'll leave that for you. Number 2, man, even though despite him like having a letdown, just the highs that this character gets and like the hype, the upside is just so motherfucking high, bro. I cannot go without giving my boy Gohan some love, man.
Hey.
At number 2.
I always thought it was so cool how he wore Piccolo's stuff instead of
Gohan's or Goku's.
The turtle stuff. Yeah, man. So I always thought that was really dope.
Yep. And like all the best versions of Gohan are like the Piccolo like stuff, you know. So yeah, and he finally does get his power up in the movie 1,000 years later. Him and his real dad, they both get it in the same movie, which is dope.
And I like I know people are like, oh, Goku's a terrible dad and he didn't even train his kid like Piccolo did. But I also like the fact that I just think it's interesting. I think it would have been the cliche thing for Goku to train his son, right? It's so different that his son got trained by somebody who was once his enemy that ends up becoming a family member, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
And then his son still loves his dad but looks up to this other guy more because this is the guy that trained him. You know what I'm saying?
And I love how
I just think it's interesting.
In the latest movie, they flat out like talk about that shit where it's like, bro, I think there's a scene where he flat out says like he like acknowledges that the relationship I have with Piccolo is like kind of different than the one that I have with my dad, because like I don't be knowing what the fuck that nigga be talking about.
Yeah.
Like, but with you, like we've got that bond.
I just think it's interesting, and it's just different from what you would get otherwise.
Yeah, so shout out to Gohan, the Gohan Piccolo connection at 2 and 3, and then number 1, you already know, man, my guy Vegeta, the best so far instance of like character long form storytelling character growth, that we've seen in anime maybe ever. So shout out to Vegeta, and
also like shout out to Vegeta for. Because it was always Goku got where he got from training, right? Mm-hmm. Vegeta got to where he got from like, experience.
Right. I've been in the shit, dog.
I'm just about to. I could get stronger from almost dying.
Right. Let me just, cause bro, and I love the fact that he's flawed too, because he just be like, yo, Oh no, Cell gonna get stronger if we gotta let him get the upgrades. Go ahead, go ahead, let him grab him. I'll beat that nigga's ass still.
Tripping, bro.
Right. And Piccolo was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you, dog?
You know what? That also, I can't believe we never got a Piccolo versus Vegeta fight.
Yeah.
I think that is like the one thing that we really super got robbed on. And like we don't need it now and it wouldn't make any sense. But if you go back, I think the best time for them to have fought would have been Android Saga because Piccolo was really strong.
Yep.
And then Vegeta was also just getting that Super Saiyan 2. So like that would have been the time to have that fight. And it would have been really good.
It would have been justified too. Like, bro, if you don't stop fucking around, I'm gonna beat your ass.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would have been a great time for them to have a fight.
Seriously, Vegeta, stop fucking around, or I'm gonna kick your ass. And you know, Vegeta's so cocky.
Why don't you just go back to Namek? Oh,
right.
You know
Vegeta's so cocky. He's like, bro, what the fuck you just say to me? We can do this shit right now. Hold on, Cell. I'll be right back. Let's go handle this shit right quick.
And then go off location. I love when they do that.
Right. All right, bet. So we about to go in this island over here, and we'll check back in with y'all after somebody dies.
I love when they go off location, off site,
right. And they just agree to like fly next to each other until they find a spot to scrap.
Love it. All right, man. Real quick, I'll do mine quick. Obviously, Chiaotzu at the bottom.
Weak.
Number 9. Weak. I just never understood.
Yeah. What is that?
What is that?
Chiaotzu. Title of this episode: Chiaotzu: What is
that? And then 9, you know, I'm gonna go or 8. I'm gonna go Tien. I actually love Tien. I love his design too. But just again, like this is a character I always thought was sweet. They just never did enough with him. I'm actually gonna go Yamcha at 7 because I was such a big fan of him.
Yes.
In Dragon Ball. He was
so
such
good.
a good character in Dragon Ball, man.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, fell completely off the cliff afterwards. But he was a really good character in Dragon Ball, man. Like, he has a really dope fight against Tien in I think the second tournament.
Second one,
that's fire. Wolfang Fist!
Wolfang Fist!
I love that video. I love when you do that move.
And the crowd.
Dragon Ball Fighters and the crowd does it. It's so cool. So shout out to Yamcha.
And the Cell scream.
Yeah. Oh. I love that one too. But yeah, man. And then so we got Chiaotzu at 9. We got Tien 8. We got Yamcha 7. At 6, I'm gonna go with my guy Krillin. I love Krillin, man, and definitely, like you said, he definitely fell off a cliff as well, but had way more moments of being brave. And like you said, man, Krillin is technically the strongest human on Earth.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, and also super fast. Remember when he went to see the Guru on Namek, and he kind of brought out his inner power. That was dope. I like Krillin, man. Destructo Disc.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters, especially in the original, man. He was really dope. And like you said, to see him go from like the second protagonist to like nothing kind of sucked.
To like a cop. Like they just
literally
like he becomes a police officer.
He literally becomes a police officer.
And then like Android 18 is like sort of the protector. I mean, I don't even
like the dominant one.
Right. I kind of don't even want to like make that observation
Yeah.
because it implies gender roles, but like it's just really interesting that all of a sudden he is like unable to like participate in the scraps at all.
Facts. And then next we got Vegeta. Like you said, the character development 10 out of 10. Some of the best fights, best moments. And you know, just you gotta love the struggler character, man. Like that's one reason why I love Guts so much from Berserk. The struggler, the person that has like the super hard road to get where they get to, is always a great character. So even though I hated Vegeta for so long, he is a great character. And then next we got my guy Gohan again. This guy should have been the one, and we finally got it like 30 years later.
Yep.
that's really it. I love Gohan, man. And then next at 3, I'm gonna go Future Trunks again. Super cool. Just showed up, looked completely different than everybody else with the jacket, had a sword. Just a cool character. Probably maybe one of the most likable Dragon Ball characters ever.
Yes,
I think is Future Trunks.
Oh, hold on. Let me pause real quick. I forgot to give the surprise at the top of my list. If I could have separated Baby Goku and Adult Goku, Baby Goku would have been my number one.
I like that. Boom, Baby Goku, fantastic. But then my number 2 is gonna be Goku, man. Like just taking in the Goku as all together,
sure.
Baby Goku, Teenage Goku, grown up until Cell Saga, man. I really liked Goku, man.
Agreed.
He's like one of those characters that inspired,
It's an icon
to work hard. You know what I'm saying? Train, get in the gym, do martial arts, all that stuff. Just a sweet character up until a certain point, man. And again, like when he was that protector, before he became just obsessed with fighting strong people, Goku was a really, really dope character, man. So shout out to Goku. My number 1, you guys already know, of course, Piccolo. Love Piccolo, man. One of my favorite characters ever. Probably was my first favorite anime character ever. When I started watching Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. Was always obsessed with Piccolo, man. Just thought he was so cool. He was just always always willing to do what nobody else wanted to do, and just very similar. You know how much I like Kakashi. They're very similar, man. Like
definitely
understanding that they're not the absolute most powerful, but will definitely step in and protect the babies and fight whoever. So I love Piccolo, man. Boom. But all right, man, let's go. Let's get into this top 5. Shout out to Dragon Ball, man. Shout out to Dragon Ball Z as we put some respect on this all-time great anime. Top 5 favorite Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z fights of all time. So we're not including Super, only Dragon Ball Z. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to go through my list quick in the interest of time. I do have one honorable mention. I mean, I could have a bunch of honorable mentions, but there's only one that I'm going to bring up just because it was so funny. Krillin versus Bacteria in the first Budokai tournament.
Bruh.
It was one of the funniest fights in the history of anime, bro. There's just the idea.
Dirty. The gross, dirty.
Where he like farted on Krillin and he literally almost killed him. Like he literally almost died.
He almost died from getting farted on.
That shit was so funny. And then just the realization of like, oh wait, I don't have a nose. So like this shit doesn't.
So I'm actually good.
Yeah. So it was just like a clever, almost like a Deadpool breaking the fourth wall moment.
Oh my goodness.
That I thought was really clever. All right, man. So ironically, even though I talk about like Goku, well, no, that's not true because half of these are from Dragon Ball, but every single fight features Goku, like all 5 of them.
Facts.
I mean, he's the main character.
Main character. Always the absolute climax too, like the highest possible moment. So, and I also did not include Gohan versus Cell because I talk about that so much. So, I like that. That's interesting. Yeah. Number 5. This used to be when we were younger. You remember this used to be everybody's favorite fight when we were like in high school. Goku versus Majin Vegeta. You remember that? Yes. Everybody was obsessed with that fight. Everybody was. That was like because that was everybody's chance to say like Vegeta, hey, he won. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Technically, but it's like. How much did the Majin help him, kind of, but then the Vegeta fans like myself would be like, oh, well, all it did was just make him not hold back. Blah, 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 blah. It was just like so much debate about that, right? But just like the emotion behind it, though, was like, bro, I've been waiting for this shit for years. And it was also like, it was quick. Like, we didn't get a lot of those in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. It was kind of like that 1 or 2 episodes, maybe? It was like kind of one of those, it was a quicker fight. Yeah. So I think that made it just different, made it stand out. You know what I'm saying? So this will be debatable here, but I chose for number 4 Goku versus Piccolo, but King Piccolo over Piccolo Jr. Here's the reason why. Okay. I wondered if it was a very creative decision to have Piccolo Jr. be like technically the big boss, but it seemed like Daimyo King Piccolo was like the real big bad. Yeah. And almost like Piccolo Jr. was like a secret boss, sort of. And so like the hype behind Piccolo Jr. or behind King Piccolo
like how I mean, again, like it was one of the first major like.
And he beat Goku first, didn't he?
Yeah,
the first time.
Yeah, it was one of the first like major power scale jumps where it was like holy, because Goku was absolutely dominant through Dragon Ball, bro.
Yeah,
like he was complete. I talk about like the first place where he got challenged, but like before that, like he had like he was beating the dog shit out of everyone. So to see him get stomped out by King Piccolo, and then the creativity that it took to like beat him was super cool.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would put that over the top slightly, but I mean, I could just as easily argue for the Piccolo Jr. match as well. Piccolo Jr. being the Piccolo that we all know and love. That was confusing to me too, because if you remember, we got introduced to Piccolo first.
Yeah,
and as kids, and we were all
so looking, because we talk about this all the time. For us, it was like we went from seeing Goku as a kid to seeing Goku as a grown man with a kid that was like 7. Not a baby. Like that nigga been around for a while. That's like a huge time jump.
And so Piccolo shows up, and we're like, "Who the fuck is that? And why is everybody afraid of him?" Like, I had never seen him before in my life.
There's literally like a 30-year time gap. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So like we learned about Piccolo Jr. first, and I had to go back to find out his whole story about him being like the
I did too
of the original King
because I didn't know what was going on, and then I saw King Piccolo. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Here's another question: Do you think that Toriyama? Because I tend to think the answer is no. But do you think that Toriyama had the idea that A, Goku was a Saiyan the whole time, and B, that King Piccolo was an alien the whole time?
Ooh, that's interesting.
I tend to think the answer is no, because there's no evidence to support that in the manga. Like they never show like the ship crashing.
Yeah,
like
I think that's all stuff that because it's all kind of convenient stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like retroactive. Like, all right, here's Dragon Ball Z.
Me too.
Got to make more stuff now.
Got to make more stuff. Got to make.
How do we make it interesting?
But also, I think when they're in that situation, they kind of leave. They don't get too. They leave their backstories vague on purpose. So if they have to if they have to add details, they can add details.
I think that's good story. That's good storytelling.
I
to
do
stuff like that. So, all right, man. So number 3, dog.
Because when Goku goes to Namek, he's literally like, "Oh yeah, my ship that crashed when I was a baby. They've
right. What?
Bulma's dad found it and he fixed it up. So I'm just gonna go to Namek now."
What do you? When did Goku learn about that?
Yeah, right? You know what I'm saying. So it's just like little stuff.
Oh, because I think if Raditz told them, how the fuck did they like have that information, and then they went back and was like, all right, cool. So go find a spaceship that's been sitting somewhere for 20 years.
Yeah, they found it.
Is that what happened?
Yeah,
because he learns about his Saiyan heritage in the fight with Raditz, right?
Yeah, and then they just find his ship.
CinemaSin. Bullshit. Plot hole. You know what I'm saying?
Pothole.
Right. All right. So I talked about Goku being challenged for the first time. It had to be in the first Budokai tournament against Jackie Chun, aka Master Roshi.
Boom.
That was one hell of a scrap, dog. Where Roshi was like, bro, I'm 300 years old, the greatest martial artist of all time by leaps and bounds. This child is beating I'm about to lose if I don't think of something. And he cheated. Like he had to do the tail thing, didn't he? And he almost still lost because
and also like when you finish Dragon Ball and you know that like Roshi's character, Goku wasn't ready to be the protector of Earth yet, so he was like, I have to win still. Like I can't. He's not ready to.
Yeah, he's not ready to pass on the.
Yeah, so he was like, I still got to win because he's not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that was cool.
Because Roshi was shook. He was scared of Piccolo. He was scared of King Piccolo. Mm-hmm. He was like, yo, like, and I kind of think this is subtext, but I kind of think the reason why he was so, like, interested in Goku's protection or his development is like, oh, if I can train him, he can beat King Piccolo, and I ain't got to worry about that shit because
facts.
That nigga looks like he'll probably kill me, and probably would have. So yeah, Goku versus Jackie Chun. That was Goku's coming out party. It's like, oh no, he's the GOAT. Like he just almost beat this ancient martial arts master. Number 2, we talked about this a lot. Goku versus Frieza. Just sort of is one of the most iconic moments in all of anime. Kind of sets the tone for everything.
And as long as it is, it's still like it's good, man.
It is good.
It's the top. It's the top point of Dragon Ball, man.
It's a very satisfying fight too. Like, because it is pretty one sided, but like, Goku earned it, bro. Like, beat that nigga's ass.
Yeah, he did. He earned it in that arc. In that arc alone, he earned it.
He earned an opportunity to beat the shit out of Frieza, and we all love to see it. And then number 1, I talked about this last time. Vegeta versus Goku round 1.
Yes, bro. So cinematic.
Yes.
Like some of the shots in that fight.
Yeah, when they were like on opposing mountains.
It's so cool, man.
Yeah, very, very good.
Agreed. That fight's amazing.
Boom.
Boom. All right, man. I'm gonna get in mine. I have some honorable mentions, man. My first honorable mention, just like your list was big time on the Goku, my list has a lot of Piccolo stuff just because he's my favorite. So my first honorable mention is gonna be Goku versus Cell. I love that fight. It was really dope. The way they built it up, the actual fight itself was really cool. My other honorable mention, Goku versus Krillin, man. From Dragon Ball, I think it was their fight from the second tournament.
I thought they.
Or it might be the first one.
It was
I
either
don't
the
remember.
first or the second. Yeah.
But they fight each other, and the choreography and the animation they do for that fight is amazing. Loved it. And then another honorable mention, man. I gotta say, Gohan versus Cell is honorable mention for me as well. And then, I wanted to get this in my top 5, but I can't really. So it's a big time honorable mention for me. Just this moment, Piccolo versus Imperfect Cell, man. I loved that whole interaction with them. Again, Piccolo just being like, all right, I know what he's trying to do. I need to go kill him before he can absorb. He was trying to kill him before he could absorb the androids and get stronger.
Idiots are gonna fuck it up for
exactly.
us.
So Piccolo
jackasses.
hunts down Imperfect Cell, fights him, and Cell runs away. He realizes that he has to get away and absorb more, more bodies to get stronger. And then after that, Piccolo's like, okay, I gotta go kill the androids now before he can absorb them. So Piccolo was just. And that's what makes that Piccolo versus Android fight so good to me, because he fights Android 17 right after he fights Cell. So shout out to Piccolo, man. Again, that's an honorable mention, but one of my favorites. All right, let's go. Coming in at number 5.
Also, real quick, another great moment is when Android 18 kicks the fucking shit
out
of
Vegeta and breaks his arm.
Dog. That shit was so like the way they animated it,
bro. That's another. Like, we talk about the single best hits in Dragon Ball history. Like, Gohan punching the upgrade out of Cell, probably number 1.
Yeah.
That Goku fist to Piccolo is up there. Yeah. And then this one is up there, too.
And also Goku kicking, like, headbutting the child out of
Piccolo, King Piccolo.
Inducing pregnancy out that nigga. Headbutting
him into labor.
Right.
That was great as well. But all right, man, let's go. Coming in at number 5. I mean, we just talked about it. It's incredible, man. It's the high point of Dragon Ball, Goku versus Frieza. I mean, the whole story itself is just amazing. And like, I don't know if there's a more satisfying beatdown of a villain, like, kind of ever in anime history, because Frieza was like 10 out of 10 just being an absolute just piece of crap, dog. And like, we just were waiting for Goku to get there and do something about this, and then it ended up being like the best moment ever. So shout out to Goku, man. Love that fight. It's amazing. Coming in at number 4, I'm gonna go Goku versus Piccolo Jr., the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament fight. Amazing. This, in my opinion, this is where Dragon Ball became Dragon Ball Z. This fight,
bro. Like, not only symbolically, but like in terms of the tech as well. Because that was where Goku. That's how he beat him. Is he had the ability. He unlocked the ability to fly. Yeah,
like Goku flies. He does I love when he does the Kamehameha out of his feet. You know what I'm saying? To fly, and then. There's some really good fight sequences in this fight. And then you got Piccolo turning into a giant, and he's just got all these crazy abilities. Like, this fight is so good. And then the end of it, when Goku just rushes him with that elbow to the face, and then hits him with the that fight's amazing. I love it. Coming in at number 3, you just talked about this one, man. The first Goku versus Vegeta fight, amazing. So just like I said, man, if I had to describe this fight in one word, it'd be cinematic. Like the shots that they used in this fight are amazing. The story, like this was by far the most dramatic that this series had ever been. Yeah. At this point, and just this fight is amazing, man. You got the beams. The Kamehameha meeting the other one, the Gallic gun, amazing. So this fight is just incredible, man. One of the best anime fights of all time. Love it. Also, man, going back, Goku vs. Cell is honorable mention for me, but bruh, the instant transmission Kamehameha, one of the greatest moments in Dragon Ball Z to me. Yeah. Coming in at number 2, man, I'm going Piccolo versus second form Frieza. From when Piccolo first pulls up to Namek and protects them from Frieza. I love this fight, man. It's so good. This is my favorite Piccolo moment of all time. Like, I think this is Piccolo's best moment. Him showing up on Namek and just kind of accepting that challenge of fighting this super feared, powerful character that he has no business supposed to be fighting, but all he's trying to do is protect Gohan. Love it, man. So good. Yep. And the fight is good. Like, the animation they use is good. The little sequences are sweet. Like, this is my favorite moment probably in Dragon Ball, man. Really good. Shout out to Piccolo. And then my number 1, of course, I kind of talked about a little bit last week. Not my favorite moment, but in just a fight, it's Piccolo versus Android 17. Like I said, man, Piccolo just being ahead of everybody and really trying to eliminate everything so Cell just cannot reach his perfect form. This fight's amazing. They do the thing we talked about. Hey, let's go fight over there. Yeah, all right, right. And then they just kind of peacefully fly next to each other until they get over there. And then Piccolo straight up tells Android 17, like, hey, tell them to stay out of this. Just me and you. And then he's like, all right. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that. Fuck it. Let's go.
The fight's amazing. I love how they're so evenly matched. At the end of the fight, they just resort to just punching each other in the stomach as hard as they possibly can.
It's like a it's like Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's like a forearm off in a wrestling match, like back and forth. Yeah. I love it, man. It's so good. So that's my top 5 favorite Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z fights. I had a lot of honorable mentions on this list, but my top 5, number 5 is gonna be Goku versus Frieza. Number 4, Goku versus Piccolo Jr. from the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. Number 3, Goku versus Vegeta round 1. Number 2, Piccolo versus second form Frieza. And my number 1, Piccolo versus Android 17. And that high honorable mention to Piccolo versus Imperfect Cell. If the fight would have been longer, that would have been on my list because I love that moment. So good. Boom. Shout out to Dragon Ball. Shout out to Dragon Ball Z, man. Put some respect on it. You guys let us know where your top 5 favorite Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z fights are. And then go ahead, get in the Discord. Rank those Z fighters, man, if you didn't already. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.